Tomas was washing a window on the 24th floor of a large office building, and suddenly he heard someone screaming. The guy looked outside and saw a lady falling from the 30th floor. But in 5 minutes, the woman was standing on the ground, totally unharmed. How did she survive? Take a closer look at the sky. Yes, it's Superman! He saved the lady. Look at the picture. What's wrong here? Watermelons don't grow on palms. Twin brothers Stan and Ken had been working hard. They wanted to collect money for their mother's anniversary. Unfortunately, they didn't manage to save enough to buy her the car of her dreams. The brothers were very upset and agreed to go shopping the next day and pick another gift. At night, Ken couldn't fall asleep because he got a genius idea. While his twin was sleeping, Ken secretly took all their savings and headed to a casino. It was his lucky night. He tripled the sum. In the morning, Ken put all the money back in the box and fell asleep. Stan woke up, opened the box, and immediately realized that Ken had touched their savings. He didn't even need to count the money to understand that. How did Stan figure it out? In the box, there were large and small bills in the evening, but now there are only large ones. Kelly was traveling and discovered a beautiful abandoned castle. She entered the building and went downstairs. She was taking pictures when someone locked her inside the basement. Kelly looked around and saw 3 tunnels leading to freedom. In the first tunnel, a huge hungry monster was waiting for her. The second tunnel was full of snakes, and the third tunnel was filled with sleeping gas. In 5 minutes, Kelly was outside the castle, running to the nearest police station. How did she escape? She used her headband as a mask and ran away through the third door. Look at these animals attentively. What's wrong with this picture? This little guy on the left is listening to music. 2 sisters went on a hike. Each of them took a box of matches. Nellie put her matches in a bag together with toothpaste, and Shelley decided to store her matches in a bag with nail polish. While the sisters were walking through the forest, they accidentally fell into a huge puddle. When they got out of it, Shelley suggested making a fire to dry their clothes and cook something to eat. Both sisters took out their matches. Unfortunately, Nellie's matches were covered in toothpaste, and Shelley's were in nail polish. Both girls left the matches to dry in the sun and left to collect some firewood. It started raining, and all the matches got soaked. But 10 minutes later, the sisters still managed to make a fire and toast some marshmallows. Whose matches did they use? They used Shelley's matches. The nail polish dried and made them waterproof. If you don't keep it, it'll break. What is it? It's a promise. Susan was asked to describe her sons. She said, "They're all redheads but 3, all blondes but 3, all brunettes but 3, and all pink-haired but 3. How many sons did Susan have? The answer is 4. 1 redhead, 1 pink-haired, 1 brunette, and 1 blonde. Lisa was a famous top model. She was found unconscious in her dressing room during a photo shoot and taken to a hospital. Doctors said she had a severe allergic reaction, but when Lisa came to herself, she insisted she hadn't eaten anything all day. The model's manager was very concerned and interrogated everyone who had been around Lisa. The stylist said she had applied Lisa's makeup and, indeed, hadn't seen her eating anything. The cleaning lady said she had cleaned the dressing room with organic, non-allergenic products. Lisa's main rival, Nora, said she had been watching the shooting all day long. She hadn't noticed anything suspicious. Who's the culprit? It was the stylist. Lipstick was the only thing Lisa could have swallowed that day. Look at the pictures. Which of these people is a risk taker? The girl is risking less. She's sitting on the second floor, and there's a pool below. The guy is risking more. The building he's sitting on is taller. You can see clouds and planes in the sky. What food can you never cheer up? A blueberry, because it's always blue. Haha. Okay, let's move on. There are 5 lemons in a bowl. You take away 3 of them. How many lemons do you have now? Well, you have the 3 lemons you took. King Gerald has a very beautiful daughter named Teresa. 4 princes from different countries came to the kingdom, hoping to marry the girl. But the king decided to check how smart they were and organized a special contest. Teresa was in the center of a 200 by 200 foot room, and the princes were standing on small boxes in each corner of the room. The first prince to touch Teresa's hand would become her husband. But they weren't allowed to leave their places or use anything but their hands or wits. One of the princes figured out what to do immediately. He married the princess. What did he do? He just asked Teresa to come over and touched her hand. You can easily find me on Earth, Mars, Mercury, and even Jupiter, but you'll never find me on the Moon, Venus, or Pluto. What am I? I'm the letter R. Manager George received an anonymous text message. It said a robber had just entered the supermarket where he worked. George hurried into the hall and saw 4 pregnant women in the grocery section. The man looked at the ladies attentively, detected the thief, and called the police. How did he know? The woman on the right is the only one who doesn't have a shopping basket or cart. She's putting groceries inside her fake belly. Imagine that you're in a room with no windows and no doors. How can you get out? Just stop imagining the room. Mrs. Victoria decided to give her grandson Rick an unusual gift for his 18th birthday. She called him into her room, showed the guy her safe, and handed him a corked bottle with a key inside.
Honey, this is the key to my safe. You can keep all the money you find there if you manage to open it. But you must take the key out without removing the cork or breaking the bottle. Good luck.
Rick accepted the challenge and started thinking about the puzzle. What would you do to get the key out? Push the cork into the bottle, and you'll easily get the key. Look at the picture. What's wrong here? The lady's reflection is holding the bag in the wrong hand. Amy had a crush on her neighbor. She went to the local witch, Sally, to ask for her help. Sally said she would make a purple love potion. On the night of the full moon, Sally took a sheet of paper with her granny's love potion recipe. She mixed all the ingredients except for the last one. Suddenly, a gust of wind threw the recipe into the fireplace. Sally was desperate. She didn't remember the name of the last ingredient, but she still knew for sure that the potion should be purple. Help Sally finish her work. She should add the blue ingredient. When you mix blue and red, they make purple. Harry and 3 other video bloggers traveled to a creepy canyon. They wanted to make a video about this mysterious place. They had been filming all day long. In the evening, they gathered around the fire, but it started to rain and everyone went to sleep in their tents. In the morning, Harry woke up, left his tent, and headed to the big bag with food to grab something for breakfast. That's when he discovered that all the food was gone. Harry got angry. He woke everyone up and interrogated the members of his team. Fred said he'd been looking at the starry sky all night. Jane said she'd been trying to catch a Wi-Fi signal to have a video chat with her boyfriend. And Sam said he'd been sleeping. Who is lying? It's Fred. It was raining at night, and he couldn't see any stars through the clouds. 2 students, Betty and Sarah, went for a walk after a very stressful test. They bought some coffee and candies and began to look for a picturesque spot for a picnic in the park. But suddenly, a guy in a mask grabbed Betty's bag and ran away. Sarah and Betty followed him. At one point, they saw a blind man sitting on a bench. He was wearing glasses and had a cane. The girls asked him if he'd seen a person in a mask carrying a female bag, but the man said he couldn't have seen anyone because he was blind. Sarah got very embarrassed, handed him a candy, and thanked him for his help. Then the girl took Betty aside and whispered that the blind man was the robber. They needed to call the police. Betty was very surprised. Why did Sarah decide the man was the robber? If the man was indeed blind, he wouldn't have seen the candy. Will's mother has 3 sons, Fred, Peter, and... Will. It's Will's mother, after all. 2 mothers and 2 daughters spent all day shopping, but they only bought 6 dresses. This was enough for each of them to have 2 dresses. How is that possible? Only 3 people went shopping: a mother, her daughter, and her daughter's daughter. One of them is a daughter and a mother at the same time, and each of the 3 purchased 2 new dresses.
Rick was walking down the beach and met a beautiful lady, Amy. It was love at first sight, and he asked her out on a date immediately. But Amy said that Rick should ask her father's permission. She led him to a company of 3 men sitting in loungers. Help Rick identify Amy's real father. This man on the right has a necklace similar to Amy's. He's probably the man. Jane woke up in a creepy room. The door was locked, but she noticed a note on the wall. The key is hidden in a secret place. Also, a needle with a thread was attached to the note. Find the secret place and help Jane to escape. Here it is. These seams are made with the same thread. Tom is a professional scammer. He sells poor quality cars. One day, he faced the consequences of his actions. Someone scratched his car and wrote the word fraud on it. Tom looked through his calendar and interrogated 3 suspects among his recent clients to find out who did it. Will said that his car had served him perfectly fine. Kelly didn't use her car because she had left for a business trip for 2 months. And Amy said her therapist advised her to learn to forgive everyone. Who is lying? It's Amy. Her nail polish is the same color as the scratches on the car. Richard has recently signed a multi-billion deal. He wanted to share the good news with his wife Kelly immediately, so he drove to her gym, but the receptionist, Fiona, didn't let him in because he didn't have any training clothes. Fiona went to look for Richard's wife herself. Can you help her determine which one of these women is Richard's wife? If you paid attention to details, you noticed that Kelly must have blonde hair. It was on Richard's suit, which means that this brown-haired woman isn't her. Although these 2 ladies are twins, only one of them is wearing a wedding ring. Therefore, the 3rd lady is Richard's wife. Take a look at this picture. Can you spot anything odd? This broccoli doesn't match the overall pattern. Peter is a ghostbuster and blogger. One day on Halloween, he received an anonymous letter which said that a real ghost was flying around the local park downtown. Peter packed up his equipment and ran to the park. But when he arrived at the described destination, he saw a crowd of people in Halloween costumes. Can you see the real ghost among them? This woman on the right doesn't have a shadow. Look at this picture very attentively. Can you find an odd unicorn? In fact, all unicorns are odd, but this one definitely doesn't belong here. Anna was painting a bench on a pier. Suddenly, she saw a handsome guy in a boat. She had a long eye contact. It was love at first sight. But when his boat left, Anna turned around and noticed that her bag was stolen. The thief can't have gone far, she thought, and asked the local guard for help. They found 4 suspects on the pier. Can you spot the thief? This woman over here, her legs are stained with the same paint that Anna used to paint the bench. One day, Detective Mike received a phone call. A woman yelled, "Help me please, I've been robbed!" Mike arrived at her apartment and found her sitting on a chair, tied up and gagged. She said that 2 men had gotten inside through the window. They had tied her up and taken all her money. What did they look like? Mike asked. The woman had no idea because they'd both been wearing masks. After hearing the story, Mike arrested the woman. Why? Her hands and mouth were tied. She couldn't have made the call by herself. Jessica woke up in a creepy basement. She searched the area and found some old furniture and an antique mirror. Suddenly, she noticed 3 doors, but there's a dangerous monster behind each door. The first monster has the ability to turn living beings into stone. The second monster is very angry and strong, and the third monster has venomous teeth. Can you help Jessica to choose the right door? Jessica should open the first door, show the mirror to the monster so that it would turn into stone, then escape. Look at this pattern very attentively. Can you spot a weird ghost? This little guy over here. Erica trains tigers and lions, but unfortunately, one of them escaped this morning. Look at this picture attentively. Can you see the tiger? The tiger is standing in front of the poster in the left corner. Take a look at this picture. Can you spot a ghost? The first guy, he has delicious food in front of him, but he didn't start it. The second guy has a half-filled drink near him. The third guy has an apple with 1 bite. 3 sisters found their father, who was a billionaire, unconscious in his home office at 12 p.m. Detectives questioned all 3 sisters. Tilda said that she had spent all morning in a gym. Leah said that she'd come over to her father's office at around 10 a.m. to feed the fish, but she hadn't seen him. Ginger said that she'd been sleeping after a party the day before. Who is lying? Leah is hiding something. Look at the fish tank. It's empty. No water, no fish. Take a look at this picture. Can you spot anything odd? There's no honey in this jar. Anna went to her favorite restaurant for lunch. She made an order and went to the bathroom to wash her hands. When Anna returned, she found out that her bag was missing. The waiter said that he seemed to have seen a man with a neck tattoo who ran into the second floor of the restaurant. Anna found 3 suspects. Can you spot the thief? This lady over here. She's the only one who has a large enough backpack to hide Anna's bag. And besides, there's a wig inside her backpack. Take a look at this picture. Can you spot anything weird? This fish over here is different. Kelly was hiking alone and taking pictures for her travel blog. She entered a cave with beautiful stalactites, but suddenly an earthquake started and the cave began to shake. But she forgot which way she got there. There are 4 tunnels. Poisonous bats are hiding in the first tunnel. The second tunnel is full of fire. The third tunnel is filled with gas, toxic for any insects. And the fourth tunnel contains radioactive plants, dangerous for humans. Which way is safe? The third tunnel. Toxic gas is a problem for insects, but Kelly is a human. The owner of a ski resort called Detective Anderson. The previous night, during a heavy storm, someone had stolen all the hotel's cash from the safe. It was the end of the season, so there are only 3 guests. So, the detective questioned all of them. Henry hadn't left his room the night before because he'd been watching a hockey game. Jill said that she'd taken a sleeping pill and passed out. Diana said she'd been partying all night and returned 20 minutes before the detective got there. Who stole the money? It was Diana. There weren't any footprints in the snow leading to the hotel. Take a look at this picture. Can you find the odd emoji out? This guy over here has a ponytail. How about this picture? Can you spot the odd emoji? This farmer's hairstyle is different. Neil and Alice went to a famous steakhouse for dinner, but everything went wrong from the start. They found a waiter lying unconscious in the bathroom. The police arrived at the restaurant in 5 minutes. They questioned the staff. The first cook said that he'd been in the kitchen roasting meat. The second cook said he'd been cleaning fish for sushi. The third had also been in the kitchen making a salad. And the fourth cook had been on a lunch break. Who is lying? The second guy. Who serves sushi in a steakhouse? James was walking down the college hall. Suddenly, he saw a portal. A mad scientist appeared in front of him, grabbed James, and took him to his lab. James asked the scientist to let him go, but he answered, "You're gonna stay here forever." Henry grabbed a notebook and a pencil and offered the scientist a deal. "If I write your age in this notebook, will you let me go?" The scientist got very intrigued and said yes. James wrote a note in his notebook and was free to go. What did he write? As promised, James wrote, "Your age." Dan is a waiter in a sushi restaurant. One night, he disappeared in the middle of his shift. The owner called the police. Detectives talked to at least 3 people who saw him. A hostess said that she'd only seen him when he got to work and parked his bicycle. The chef said he'd seen Dan in the kitchen when he came to get a glass of orange juice. The cook said he had last seen Dan going upstairs. After their statement, the police arrested the cook. Why? This is a 1-story restaurant. Dan couldn't have gone upstairs.